good.
Okay.
Once upon a time, there are 3 billy goats. They're trying to cross a bridge, and they're stopped by this horrible troll that wanted to eat them. So what the billy goats did is they outsmarted the goat and killed it. And when that happened, the world realized that they've been using goats in the improper way. Instead of using goats for agriculture, what they really needed to do is weaponize all of their goats. So using black magic and foul science and forbidden breeding practices, they made the meanest, weirdest, and fattest possible goats. Those goats are now called Gruffs. And you are a shepherd, and you've made your handcrafted perfect team of battle goats.
Excellent.
So all of your goats are mean, weird, and fat. And what that means is that when a goat attacks, let's say Darby's attacking over here. When a goat attacks, he deals damage equal to his mean score to the goat in the position opposite of him.
All right.
So Darby has got 1 mean. Skitters over here has 2 fat. Fat contributes to the defense of a goat. Okay. So if Darby's going to attack Skitters, he'll do 1 damage, and Skitters has 2 fat, which means Darby basically bounces off of his fat.
So I don't reduce that down to 1?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
No, it's more like an armor than it is like a health point total.
Okay.
So on the other hand, if I would have attacked with 2, then it would kill Skitters. You indicate that by flipping it over. Right. Defender loses in the case of a tie.
So there's no hit points, it's basically just dead or alive?
Dead or alive, exactly.
Okay.
And then if I had 3 mean, then it would kill Skitters and the excess damage would go over to your shepherd.
Right, okay.
So it would cause your life total to drop down. And you're not totally reset yet here. So you start at where these little circles are on all of the goats.
Good, nice and clear.
I'm going to play.
Okay, so if I dealt 3 damage and blocked 2, then one of them would go over to Hogbox over
So you
there.
go down to 7.
Yep. On the other hand, if I actually would attack and the goat was dead, all damage would go over to the shepherd. When the shepherd gets to 0 life, then it's game over.
Couldn't I block him with a different goat?
Oh, you totally could.
Okay.
So, because when you attack, your damage actually resolves at the beginning of your next turn.
Right.
So when I declare my attack, you actually get to spend your turn moving goats around or playing additional cards, anything you can to mitigate the incoming attack or lay down your plans. So that's how mean and fat and life work. To understand weird and crazy, you need to draw 5 cards.
Okay.
So go ahead and draw 5 cards now. So first thing you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner of your cards is that the cards are of 3 types. The 3 types of cards are actions, conditions, and mutations. Okay. So an action card is a card that you play, and as soon as you play it, it does its effect and it goes to your discard pile. Yeah. Exactly. The condition card is a card that you play, and it has an attribute that affects the board state until the beginning of your next turn.
Right, okay.
And that goes away during the cleanup phase. The third type of card is a mutation, and they have that green circle in the upper left-hand corner, and when you play a mutation, it stays on the board for the rest of the game, or until some other card destroys it. So that is those. Now, in the upper left-hand corner, there's a purple circle with a number in it.
Yes.
So that value is how crazy your shepherd has to be to try to use any of these abilities.
Okay.
So your shepherd has a crazy score at the bottom of his life.
Starts at 0 in this one.
Yep, starts at 0. Some of them start at 1. Depends on the shepherd.
So just to say, at the moment, I can't play any of those cards.
You can play no cards whatsoever.
All right.
Now, let's say, for example, you had 5 crazy. Or I could play Epiphany, which costs 2. And I could play Hallucinate, which costs 2. And I could play Speedy, which costs 1. But I could not play all of that and Startle, because together that costs 6. Right? When I play a card, it does not cause my crazy score to go down. Crazy is like diamonds, it's forever. So it just is going to keep building up and up.
So how do I get more crazy?
I will tell you. So you get crazy from your goat's weird scores. So basically all of your goats are annoying and really hard to work with.
Right, okay.
So when you activate a Gruff, it causes your shepherd to go crazy. It just drives him nuts.
Okay.
It accelerates his inevitable descent into madness.
So can you explain activating?
Sure. And to explain activating, kind of need to explain turn order. So at the beginning of your turn, you clean up your attack from the previous turn, which you kind of went into already. And if all of your goats are exhausted, then they all refresh.
Okay.
Now, that won't make a lot of sense until we talk about activation. Unless it's the first player's first turn, then you draw a card.
Okay.
So and then after you draw a card, you activate a Gruff. So what activating a Gruff means is you choose one of your 3 goats to be the star of the show for that turn. So all of the decisions and actions that happen basically happen from that goat's perspective during this turn. So let's say that we go ahead and activate Darby for some ridiculous reason. Now, when I activate a goat, the first thing that happens is I get crazy equal to his weird score. So Darby's got a weird score of 1, and that will cause my crazy on my shepherd to go from 0 to 1. So what you'll notice in Gruff, as opposed to like other games, is the resource system is actually exponential, because as Darby plays, he gets 1 mean and 1 weird whenever he's moved.
Right.
So the more he moves around, the higher his weird score goes. Every time I activate him, I get that huge chunk of weird again, so it just like curves upward. So
more and more intense.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll see cards that cost 1 and 2, and then you'll draw a card and it's like, this card costs 30, and it's actually playable.
What happens if they get to the maximum scores, or does it just say the maximum?
That's the maximum score, yeah. It just caps out there. So it's an important thing to note. Like, Zumberg doesn't really have a native way of gaining mean, but he can get extremely mean. So it's also a mechanical thing. I didn't include a lot of goats that do this, cards that do this, but there are some cards that say this card can only be played by a deep thing, or this card can only be played by a skull clan. Yeah. So
makes it more tactical.
Yeah, it makes it more tactical. So it can give you an advantage if you decide to bring all 3 of a single faction into your deck. But the disadvantage is that they all kind of have the same weaknesses.
Okay.
It
wouldn't be a varied attack.
What's that?
It wouldn't be a varied team.
Right. You'd have holes and openings where other people could potentially exploit.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So that takes us to the tactical action. Actually, it takes us to playing cards. So I've got one weird, which gave me the 1 crazy. So using my 1 crazy, I could play. Oh, you know what? I'm totally gonna do that. I'm gonna play Speedy.
Right.
So I play Speedy. It's an action card, so it immediately happens, and it's gonna cause Darby to swap places with another goat on my team.
Right.
So Darby's special ability is that he gets 1 mean and 1 weird when he's moved.
Ah, right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and give myself 1 mean and 1 weird right now.
Okay.
Now. His weird increased, but that does not increase my crazy.
That's only the beginning of it when activated.
Right, it's the moment he activates.
Okay.
So now that I've played cards, I can play as many cards as I want, but I don't have that much crazy, so I'm pretty much done with that right now. Right. Then I make a tactical action. And the tactical action is kind of the core of what the turn is about. There are 4 things that I can do. The first thing I can do is I can choose to move, which is swap positions with an adjacent goat. The second thing I can choose to do is attack. We talked about that a little bit already, but I basically push my goat forward to say that I'm intending to attack whatever goat is in this position.
So that's why position's important, okay.
Yeah, at the beginning of my turn. I can only attack straight across. Then the third thing I can choose to do is basically if I don't want to move or attack, I can choose to add 1 to any one of the 3 stats on the active goat. Okay. So what I can't do is say, oh, I'm going to grow, and I'm going to add it to some other goat, right? Yeah, exactly. It's only the active goat.
Okay.
And then the 4th thing I can do is resurrect. If I control a dead goat, I can use my tactical action to bring him back to life.
Okay.
Okay, so when I activate a goat, I exhaust it, which is turning sideways. Activating and exhausting aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
The reason why exhausting is important is that at the beginning of my next turn, I have to choose which goat to activate. I can only activate an unexhausted goat.
Okay.
So I'll activate another one, or I'll activate that guy. Now, I can't actually refresh my goats until my entire team is exhausted.
Right.
So when all 3 of them are exhausted, then they go back to their starting position and refresh.
So if you've activated, can you then attack as well with an exhausting?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, everybody that you attack with is exhausted, right? Because activating a goat does exhaust it.
It's good because it's balanced. It stops you just using the same goat again and again and again. Yeah.
Yep. That is. I'm going to use it to give one weird to Gusto who has no weird.
Right.
Just for science. And then I drew a card. I think I already drew a card.
I'm going to cast Evolve on Zumberg to raise its fat to 3. And that's discarded here.
I'm here at Gen Con 2015 with Brent Critchfield, designer of Gruff, publisher of Gruff, the tactical card game of mutated monster goats. Guarantee you're not going to find another one like it, and had the opportunity to listen to him go through how to play the game with Andrew Prouse. And Andrew, what'd you think of the game?
Well, I really love it. The artwork's fantastic. I'd heard basically about the game on podcasts I listened to before. Listening to talk about the game, get really enthusiastic. I love all the creative effort that's gone into it. So many different ideas in terms of the different characters and how well they've actually been fleshed out, because there's so much more detail that you can go into in terms of how the tactics work with different groups or different clans. The mechanics are actually relatively simple, which is good for basically beginners who want to play it, but also the tactics are good, so that for more experienced players there's lots to come back to as well. Going through the turn order is very, very simple. The cards help basically make that nice and clear, and it was well explained as well. So in terms of someone who's basically picked up the game, it wouldn't take that long to explain to new players. They'd have a really good time playing it. They'd enjoy playing different sides, and also with all the different possible expansions to the game, there's so many more ways to change it up, so you'll never play the same game twice.
Okay, so Andrew, were you a backer on Kickstarter?
No, I only found out about after it had already finished, unfortunately. But it was very exciting, and I loved hearing about all the
Stretch goals as well. So I'm assuming you're a fan and probably a purchase maybe in the near future?
I'd hope so, yes.
No pressure. Anything else about the game that you know, you play a lot of games, play a lot of card games.
Yeah.
Anything else that kind of differentiated it that you really enjoyed?
Well, I really like the way that the cards basically it uses the table for space. I mean, there's so many different elements about how it's all arranged, so that everything's delineated quite clearly. In terms of basically how the board's controlled, you got the area that the idea of it's either a pushing back or a moving forward area. There's lots of sort of give and take. You could basically build on defensive strategies or attacking strategies, but the more you learn about your actual goats and the family of your goats itself, over time you'll learn the best way to play with them. So it makes people want to come back to the game again and again and again.
Yeah, it sounds very exciting with the different factions that are going to be available throughout as the game builds, and I guess they were probably part of the stretch goals for Kickstarter. Did you ever think in your lifetime you'd ever play a card game about goats?
I could only dare to dream.
All right.
Hey, that's my shirt.